Ho, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Brother Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful, delicious, smoky, medium rare, juicy, delicious prime rib. Coming up! When it comes to Christmas dinner, there are plenty of options. Whether you're gonna go with another turkey, some people like to go with a ham, maybe a duck perhaps. But in this household, every Christmas dinner, there are basically two options. Either a beef Wellington or a prime rib. And this year, we're going prime rib. That's right, folks, I've got myself a beautiful bone-in Wagyu rib roast, and we're gonna smoke it up on the old Weber Kettle here, and it is going to be delicious. This is a prime rib. Actually, this one is a Wagyu prime rib, half of a rib roast to be exact. And as you can see, it's got some beautiful marbling on there. This one scored between 6 and 7 on the BMS charts. And as you can see, we've got 3 lovely bones in there. I got this one from meatandbone.com, not sponsored, but as you can see, they've got some quality product. As you also may notice, this has already been salted. Last night, I hit it with a generous amount of Diamond Crystal Kosher salt to give it a bit of a dry brine. Because especially on a piece of meat this big, you really want to let that salt have plenty of time to penetrate in an attempt to get flavor all the way through instead of just a crust on the outside. As well as sitting uncovered in the fridge overnight, that's also going to help dry out the exterior, which is going to give us a really nice crust. But to finish seasoning this off, we're going to hit it with a little bit of oil and of course some black pepper and a little bit of granulated garlic. So much like a steak or anything else I've dry brined in the past, we're going to hit this with a little bit of some oil. Any oil you got is going to work just fine here. And we're going to go around and rub it in until it gets nice and tacky to ensure that everything sticks. I didn't do much trimming on this. I did take a little bit of this fat cap off the exterior over the bones because there's a whole bunch of fat right here. Could leave it on, could take it off, but because this is going to be cooked to medium rare, all this fat is not really going to render down. So I scooped some of it out, but nothing too crazy. And to ensure this thing keeps its shape, we're gonna go ahead and truss it up before we add the rest of our seasoning. So I've got a length of butcher's twine here, and this is a bit of a process. Just gonna aim right beneath the bones and tie it up. Snip off that tail. And then for a true truss, we're gonna take this one piece of string, we're gonna make a little loop out of it, bring it back under, slide it between the next set of bones, making sure it's nice and tight. And one more time. And there are plenty of other videos on the internet showing how to do this in much more detail. But if you don't want to do a truss like this, you can also just do 3 individual pieces of string. And once everything is nice and tight, we're going to snip this end off, tie it off, and we're good to go. Beautifully tied up roast. And per usual, we're going to go on with some good old 16 mesh black pepper, starting on the back side to ensure we have a nice presentation on the top. And if you're using fresh cracked pepper, I definitely wouldn't go this heavy. But because it's not going to cook for very long, I want to ensure we get some nice color and a nice bark on there, so that's why I like a nice heavy pepper application. And we're also going to go on with a little bit of granulated garlic, just for some extra flavor. And there are many different ways you can do a prime rib. A lot of butchers will remove the bones ahead of time and then tie them back on. That's a great technique, especially because at the end it makes carving it up super easy. But I'm not too worried about it, so we're going to leave them on, then we can carve them off at the end. And there we have it. That is a beautiful looking rib roast to me. Let's fire up the pit. Back on the old Weber Kettle. Whew, it is a cold Christmas night, I tell you what. Good Lord, that was a heavy bag of charcoal. Beautiful. And if you recall from my Weber Kettle brisket video I did last time I was up here, I'm using the old Smokinator 1000 here, just as a baffle plate, just to give us a little bit more room in between the coals and the meat. But for now, just gonna let these coals catch. Well, hello to you. What are you two doing?
Corking. Brooke's losing it. Twerking?
Did you say twerking?
Hi.
Beautiful looking fire. How's your Christmas been, Dad?
Great.
Nice and toasty. Gotta say, it's pretty nice hanging out by a fire when it's not really hot outside. So I'm not really trying to reinvent the wheel here with this prime rib. Pretty simple cook, trying to get it up to temp, and if we can get a good crust in the process, that'd be great. So my plan is to get this pit rocking right around 250, 300 degrees until this prime rib comes up to temp, and then we'll figure out the sear at the end. Well, it's the first time I've ever had to de-ice a pit before. And again, there's not too many options for orientation on a Weber Kettle. But we're gonna just put this guy over here and aim this backside of the bones towards the fire. Because as I mentioned, there's a whole bunch of fat right here, and if we toast the first few inches, we're not gonna lose any of that valuable meat. So I'm gonna throw on a couple of wood chips, and the cook begins. But About 30 minutes in, this thing is holding right at 300, which is beautiful. And after going through the old wood stack, I found a couple of chunks of what I believe to be oak. So I'm gonna chuck those in there for a little extra smoky flavor. But now I'm gonna go play a game of Farkle. Or is it Quirkle? Ooh, it is cold out here. About 22 degrees on a nice New Hampshire night. We're about 2 hours into this cook. Let's take a look at how we're doing. Looking real nice. And as you can see, I found some bone marrow chunks at the old grocery store. So I got these on there, just toasting away a little bit, add a little extra smoky flavor to the party. But we're also gonna use these to make a bit of a jus, which should be super flavorful. And as you can see, bam, let there be light. We've got some beautiful color on this roast. Let's see what we're reading internal. I flipped it around about 20 minutes ago just to even out the cooking temps. We're about 85 degrees in there, so another 30, 40 to go. Plenty of time to make a jus and make sure all of our sides are ready. One of the nice parts about it being 20 degrees outside is keeping the temps down on this pit is definitely not hard. But I've thrown a couple of handfuls of charcoal on periodically. But if you're in a warmer climate, you may want to consider the minion method or the snake method or something like that. But don't worry, I'm still in shorts. Oh, but what a beautiful sight. And the smells, oh, so good. After a little bit of time on the grill, these bones are now going into a pot to make a nice little stock. But first, Becca's gonna try some bone marrow. She's not psyched about it.
Tastes like beef fat.
Sure does. Not for you?
Could take it or leave it.
Oh, so steamy. All right, folks, we're about 2.5 hours in. This thing is rocking about 118 in the thickest part. And I just threw a big chunk of wood chips on just to kiss this with a final bit of smoke and kind of sear that outside. And I gotta say, this is looking fantastic and I'm getting hungry. Finally, we can go inside.
I'm making Yorkshire pudding.
Ooh.
Individual ones.
Is that made with Wagyu beef tallow?
It is indeed.
I'm a big fan of the Yorkshire pudding.
Word is they're going to be sky high.
Ooh. Now, for me personally, Dad, I'm always curious about the prime rib because for me, I really like that nice crusty exterior, the nice Maillard reaction on a nice ribeye steak.
Yep.
As opposed to a prime rib, which typically doesn't have a big crust on it, but this one's looking a little bit different. What's your preference when it comes to a ribeye? Do you like the whole rare to rare all the way through, or do you like it in steak form better?
I think I like it in roast form better. But my father, your grandfather, always liked the end cut because it had all the the Maillard on it.
All that flavor. Yeah, I mean, I think it's also because it's not often you do a prime rib.
No.
You need a special occasion.
And get a little crunch on the edges, and you're good.
Can I get a sneak peek?
Here we go. Ready?
Oh my God, they're sky high. She's excited. Do you know who's most excited for this prime rib?
Me.
No.
Josh?
Josh.
Cheers.
Without further ado, it's time to carve in. First things first, we gotta remove the strings. Smelling smoky. Call this Pitmaster's dental floss right there. I make that joke every time. Alright, so first things first, I'm gonna take these bones off like we talked about earlier. Follow them as closely as we can. Again, you could do it beforehand, but this way we'll get a nice little sneak peek. By the way, this rested for a good 20-30 minutes. Don't mind if I do. Slice these up for a little snacky poo. And now, let's see how this beast came out. Start by taking off this little end capper, shall we? Ooh, don't mind if I do. Hope that shows up on camera. How thick are we talking today, Dad?
Let's say ½ inch.
Oh, beautiful. We'll get one more. Don't mind if I do, folks. Not gonna lie, that smells pretty fantastic. The dog is panting. It's as easy as that, folks. Nothing to it. Oh, what are these? Figgy puddings? What's the name?
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire puddings coming out. Woohoo! Oh, oh. You know, there's sometimes in life where you just gotta look at it. Would you just look at it? Take a little sneak peek right off the bone, shall we? Father.
Right. Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh, so smoky. And tender.
Nice and salty, too. In a good way. Official taste test. Oh, don't mind if I do.
Thanks, Brad.
How did the prime rib come out?
Oh, très bien. C'est très bien.
It was really good. The burnt ends were my favorite. They were so smoky.
What a happy Christmas we've had together.
Now it's time to finish this damn puzzle.
Look, there's Josie right there. And this is our street.
Do you know what the best part about prime rib versus beef Wellington is?
Sandwiches.
The old leftovers. Gotta love a good prime rib sandwich.
Absolutely.
Say hi, little buddy. Hi. Alright, y'all, and that is it. That's it. What is that? There's a snake in my stocking. Alright, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make a surprisingly simple, smoky, delicious prime rib on the Weber Kettle. I really hope you give this recipe a try, and if you do, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I love to see what y'all are cooking. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see me cook next. Big shout out to all the subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making videos, and until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside, because I've got a game of dominoes to win.
Merry Christmas! And remember to subscribe!